Good evening, I'm Kyle Clark.
And I'm Jennifer Meckles. 448 years. That is the sentence a judge handed down today for a man convicted of human trafficking.
Prosecutors think that Robert Hawkins' punishment is the longest human trafficking sentence in American history. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause joins us after being in the courtroom today as he learned his punishment. Rachel?
And yeah, it was an emotional moment for a lot of the victims and their families. But before even that, victims had the chance to speak to Hawkins in the court. One victim says she was just 13 years old when she became one of his victims, saying he's the villain of my childhood, describing him as a scary large monster that she still hasn't recovered from. Inside the courtroom, many of Robert Hawkins' victims sat, listening as the sentence was read out. 448 years for human trafficking 6 victims. After court let out, we spoke with one. We're not identifying her at her request.
I was happy he got found guilty. The sentence, I was like, I don't know any of these words that are going on, but after the end of it, over 400 years, I'm like, yes.
Nearby sat jurors that voted to convict Hawkins on 18 counts.
Absolutely.
Including Juror 8, who asked us not to share her name.
It meant a lot to be part of that and know that we got to see justice today and on that day.
For 15 days, she heard evidence and testimony from victims that Hawkins had forced women, men, even kids into prostitution, beating them if they ever tried to leave or even made him mad.
They were heartbreaking. They're really hard to hear, and they're going to carry this for the rest of their lives, and knowing that this person isn't going to be able to cause harm to anybody else is huge.
The victim we spoke with says she still carries the fear and trauma every day. She says she never expected to face her monster years after she got away, but now comforted that today it's him going away for good.
I'm happy, just glad, relieved. So now I'm gonna go home and just pray and just thank God for this beautiful outcome.
Hawkins' attorney declined to speak with us after today's sentencing. In the courtroom, they told the judge Hawkins didn't want to make any statement. And even before the victim's statements or the sentence was handed down, they told the judge they'd be filing an appeal in the case. Rachel Krause, 9 News.
Police are looking for 2 boys out of Montezuma County tonight. CBI issued an endangered missing person alert for 13-year-old Braden Vallejos and 3-year-old Terry Gallegos, both missing tonight. Last seen in Cortez yesterday. The sheriff's office says the boys might be traveling with 42-year-old Marcia Vallejos and 56-year-old Terry Gallegos. If you see them or if you know where they are, call 911.
A man who killed 3 people could one day be released from prison because he's out from under a life sentence because a former DNA analyst at the Colorado Bureau of Investigation cut corners. A jury in Boulder County convicted Garrett Coughlin of murder in 2019, killed 3 longtime family friends, Kelly Sloat White, Walt Weiss, and Emery Fraker. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. His conviction was overturned because of juror misconduct. Got a new trial. Then last year, prosecutors learned their DNA analyst on the case, Missy Woods, deleted data around the time of this case. Her work was crucial. It helped them disprove alternative suspects. So today, prosecutors and the defense agreed on a plea. Instead of life, Coughlin gets 42 years and a chance to get out. Boulder County prosecutors say they believe it's the right outcome based on what they know, but they acknowledge the pain this causes.
I've never seen anything like this in my entire career, and I hope to never see it again. The reality is that there are hundreds of other cases that have been impacted by Missy Woods' conduct, and I hope that CBI continues to look into why this happened, how it happened, and the impacts of what's been revealed thus far.
This trial was one of the first tests to see how Woods' misconduct is going to impact cases. She's still under criminal investigation for her work at CBI during a 29-year career.
No deputies will face criminal charges for the botched transport of a man with mental illness inside the Adams County Detention Center. A grand jury concluded they were not responsible for his death. This is a case 9 News Investigates has been following very closely. Arthur Roybal died on Christmas Eve 2022 after being held face down and strapped to a gurney inside the jail. An autopsy report determined Roybal's death was a homicide, and it found while restraint was a contributing factor, Roybal also had a substantial amount of meth in his system. The grand jury found none of the deputies acted with a, quote, criminal state of mind, But they did find jail employees did not follow policies, saying a restrained inmate should not be placed face down.
I think they erred. I think they made a big mistake. And that was, as the coroner found, a contributing factor to the inmate's death.
The Adams County Sheriff declined our request for an interview. A spokesperson, though, told us all the deputies involved are currently working their normal assignments, but because of this death, they have updated training for jail employees. There's also an internal investigation underway.
Today, a judge decided that John and Carrie Halford will be tried separately for their roles in leaving nearly 200 bodies to decompose at their Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose. The ruling was made despite John's team asking for a single trial. The judge said that his wife's defense would be, quote unquote, antagonistic to his defense. Couples did not enter pleas at this point. Both sides agreed to push the trial back to sometime in January.
The heat has arrived. Today was a great day to play in the water. Here's a look at Horsetooth Reservoir earlier today. Down here in Denver, we got up to 91 degrees downtown, 89 at the airport. That's where it technically counts for Denver. We recorded the first 90-degree day of the year yesterday, and tomorrow is supposed to get even hotter. So headline, Kathy, hot.
That's right, but only for one more day, you guys. Heading into the weekend, we'll have cooler weather, but we'll also have to watch the skies for showers and potentially strong thunderstorms. It's calm and quiet out there tonight, a beautiful evening. We are tracking the potential for a couple of thunderstorms tomorrow on the warmest day of the week, but that cooling trend for the weekend is going to be great, along with some beneficial rain that's coming in. Temperatures, after soaring into the 80s and 90s, are still very mild this hour. 73 in Denver, 75 in Lamar. Winds out of the east and southeast starting to kick up around Monument Hill, Castle Rock, and Centennial. Haven't been a big issue today, but the high pressure ridge is starting to shift a little, and that's allowing for moisture from the south to rotate into Colorado. So we've got a couple of little tiny thunder showers out there. If you get rain, count yourself lucky. They're not going to last very long, and the severe weather threat tonight is very low and actually south and east of the area. Futurecast shows a little more moisture tomorrow, perhaps a better chance of storms in the afternoon and the evening. We'll talk about that, but we'll also have that weekend outlook in detail in just a bit.
Kathy, thank you. The Arapahoe County Bomb Squad got called out for a possible explosive device near the Cherry Creek Dam spillway today. They found 2 devices, but think these are just homemade fireworks. Deputies safely removed them. They say these are safe. The experts believe they could have caught fire, but they weren't strong enough to cause any real damage. Nobody's been arrested. Police in 2 cities are now trying to figure out who keeps stealing pride flags. One of the thefts was caught on a doorbell camera overnight in Arvada, and police believe teenagers did this, then took off in a dark-colored Tesla. Something very similar happened on Lowell Way in Westminster on Tuesday. Police also think that's a teenager. Westminster police are now investigating this as a bias-motivated crime.
It was a pride flag that was stolen, and we can't determine that any other flags, whether American pride or anything else, were stolen in the area. So we want to make sure that we have that crime included if we were to be able to arrest somebody.
No arrests have been made at this point, but if you have any information, please call police.
The Colorado Republican Party's blatant anti-gay bigotry is starting to have some consequences. Of course, it was this week when the Colorado GOP told its supporters that God hates pride and echoed a vile slur. Today, a Republican elected in Aurora, one of the GOP's few bright spots in recent elections, says he is quitting the party over that. Aurora City Councilman Curtis Gardner says the homophobic comments from the state party were the last straw. He's changing his party registration to unaffiliated. Gardner says the anti-gay attacks during Pride Month capped off a series of what he called disappointing decisions by the Colorado GOP and Chairman Dave Williams. In this mass email this week, the GOP said God hates flags, a nod to the slur from Westboro Baptist Church. And the GOP called on people to burn all pride flags. Now, municipal elections are nonpartisan, but Gardner's part of a conservative majority on Aurora City Council. It's one of the few places in Colorado where Republicans have recently made gains.
It's reflective of me. If I'm part of that organization, it's reflective in some ways. I'm complicit in that. And so, it's really a soul-searching moment to say, am I okay with this? Is this the behavior that I want to model for my kids? And am I okay being part of an organization that acts like this? And upon reflection, the answer is no.
Earlier this week, the Republican candidate for Congress in the 1st Congressional District, Denver, that'd be Valdemar Archuleta, came on next to say that he is renouncing his party's endorsement because of its open bigotry. The LGBTQ community in Denver is struggling with the loss of a beloved performer.
She died of cancer this week. And 9 News reporter Ria Jha joins us in studio tonight with a look back at her legacy. Ria?
Yeah, Janelle St. Christopher has been an influential figure in the Denver LGBTQ+ community for decades, winning the Miss Colorado Gay Pride of Colorado back in 1995. She made it her mission to spread love and acceptance to the whole community.
Your usual?
Sitting here now feels different.
I know I'm going to miss her, but I know that she's out of pain.
For drag queens Brandy Roberts and Lamar Cooper, remembering the times their friend performed here.
The regalia is coming out, you know, whether it's the gowns, the crowns, the sashes, the whole thing.
On stage, she was Janelle St. Christopher. At home, he was Christopher Jaramillo. Two personas, one true self.
Like I said, Chris wasn't shy. He wanted to be him. He wanted to be who he was. If it was Janelle St. Christopher or Chris, that's who he was going to be.
His brother Adrian Gomez says he was there in Chris's final moments as he died of cancer this week.
Flowers coming to the house, people reaching out, and to me, you know, he left an AM legacy.
Gomez says his brother's story began in the 90s when Chris joined the Navy.
Men and women in the military being arrested and thrown in the brig for being gay or lesbian, and that was her clue and her wake-up call.
He left to find herself.
He had a release out of the Navy, and I think that's when he found his journey of him being who he was.
She kind of had that little small start, but once she got going, she became the queen.
Janelle St. Christopher became a leader in the Imperial Court of the Rocky Mountain Empire, raising thousands of dollars for local charities through drag shows, paving the way in the process.
Obviously, we've lost a huge part of what we are about, what we stand for, what we have been the face for. But the one thing that Janelle did leave us is an avenue for us to continue to grow on what she's already helped to build.
Teaching others about what she knew best.
I think Chris taught a lot of people, be who you are.
She died on Saturday at the age of 53, touching the lives of so many that more than 300 people are expected to be at her celebration of life ceremony this Sunday. Ria Jha, 9 News.